That's why I kept saying every time y'all heard me talk about black pirates, that's what it stemmed from was Buccaneers. I didn't have enough information to put it together yet.
We live, by the way.
Oh man, there goes Sean doing sneaky stuff.
Meet me
Peace.
my mic, man. I need a moment.
Okay, peace everybody. I'm gonna need a moment to get set up as well. I can't even see the screens. But peace to everybody. I got my brother Sean and I believe Sue Tech is here, if I'm not mistaken. What we want to talk about is what is black success. I'm not going to say I'm the authoritative figure on it, but one thing I do see that we should do is make a standard from this day forward on what success is within the black community from this day forward and try to achieve that goal, each one of us in our own means to the best of our abilities. And one thing I want to really drive in right from the gate is because I see it pop up so many times. Our ancestors failed us, or the last generation failed us, or our elders failed us. I don't believe that because we are here. What I believe is not enough of us are taking enough time to study what our elders and ancestors actually did and the levels of greatness they achieved. So from right there, I kind of want to see if anybody has anything to say. I got to get my stuff set up on YouTube so I can see the comments in the chat and get a couple of shares out.
What's
Sutek,
the
if you
name of
want
the
to rock the
show?
mic, go ahead.
What's the name of the show, guys?
What is black success? An open discussion. That'll work. And Sean, what I was telling you about my baby girl, she's sending me a couple of notes. So if y'all give me maybe 2 minutes to reply to her, I'll jump back in.
Hey,
We doing this on Kofi Pie side, right?
yeah, it's on it.
Okay.
Peace to the family, man. Y'all come in, like the show, and share the show as you coming in. We gonna be building on black success. Brother Vyasa gonna be getting it in. Uh, I think this is gonna be like a open discussion, a open conversation. So I don't know, Vyasa might want to send the link out, let people join the discussion. We'll just see how it goes, man. Y'all like the show and share the show though as y'all come in.
Yeah, most definitely. If we can get a couple of sisters so we don't just have this solely from a male's perspective, because that's a big part of where I hope the conversation leads. Because one strong part of success in the black community is gonna have to be black family and unity. So we're gonna need them to participate as well. So I don't mind sending the link out. I don't know how. If one of y'all can do it, if we get people in here willing to participate, I'm all for that.
And y'all show is quiet, man. Hold on, people. Some people sharing the show, so just give us a moment.
Everybody getting set up. Y'all ready for Santa Claus? Man, I'm trying to get YouTube set up.
My fault, y'all. I was talking to my daughters through text messages. I apologize. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, and I understand just right from the gate, and as the conversation progresses, I know that term is going to be seen with a lot of, and I can't say it that way. It's going to be seen ambiguously on how we even look at what success is. So I'm hoping we can kind of strip away a lot of the mystique around that word and get to the real core of what that is and kind of hopefully plan a blueprint of what success is. Um, for example, um, Sean may become successful in basketball and become a multimillionaire. Sutek may become successful in engineering and become a multimillionaire. Both of them are successful. So how can we say one is better than the other? We have to look at what that common denominator is. And if we look at what that common denominator would be, it would be them maintaining their household, maintaining the family, those things. So how do we say someone who is just a store manager at McDonald's, but is doing the same thing for his family? How do we dub him unsuccessful in the Black community? If you get where I'm going, because we can no longer, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be competitive with other groups of people, but we have to get it in reality that we are deprived of a lot of the things that made them successful, if we talking materialistically and politically to a certain extent in the hells of America. So if we remove that and we create our own standards and we aim for things that we can honestly achieve in our lifetime, in a day, in a year, in 10 years, if we start to stage a standard, hopefully we will see our success rates go up. And that's what I kind of want the conversation to lead to, is what is success, how do we achieve it, and how do we define it? Not how America defines success, not how China defines success, not how Russia or any other group of people. How do we, as the Black family, define what success is? And it's open for anybody to give ideas, solutions, and so on. So I'm gonna pause back out and see if anybody wants to chime in from that idea.
Uh, yeah, that's a tough one. So basically, you're saying we should come to a consensus on what Black success is, right?
Correct. And I think a big part of it is we've never done that before. We never said these are the standards to be successful. You know, we got certain um, goals, aspirations that we may all individually strive for. But how do we really create a strong, successful Black community? What do we need to be doing for it to happen? Because some people are going to say we need to get right with Jesus. Some are going to say we need to leave the Bible alone. Some are going to say we need to work on credit. But how do we set that standard of this is what has to be done? And when we set that standard and we make this actual law, it's no different than America creating this constitution. Where's our constitution to say these are what our demands are, this is what we're going to strive to be, and this is who we are? And we all want success. We all do. And to me, it's okay, well, what is that? Because I come from hell. Me just walking onto a college campus, even though that's just an achievement, just getting there was just an achievement. Me getting there from where I'm from, I'm a success story. I made it out the hood, no felonies. I'm taking care of my kids as a single Black man. I did stuff that's unheard of. Is that a success story? Even though I'm financially in hell, through many eyes, I'm a success story. Through my eyes, I got so far to go. So where is the standard at for this? Who determines it? And as we're becoming the elders, it's like, okay, we still got work to do. Where do we begin? And I think this is a good conversation to have, because we can't set our standards based off Hollywood, because a lot of the times we know that's not reality. So what is success for the everyday Black woman, Black man, boy, and girl? What are going to be the criteria of reaching success? And I think we have to separate the difference in between an achievement and success, an accomplishment. We need to be able to do those things. For example, you can achieve a touchdown in a game, but not be successful in winning the game. You get where I'm going? So is making the highlight reel successful, but your team lost? Do y'all get where I'm going? Like, we have to set a standard.
Right.
And I think that conversation is needed. I'm not the smartest person. This isn't my field. It's just something that I was curious to see how it would go. And I feel like with it being the close of a year, is something that we should just at least consider to shape our minds around going into 2020, you know? Even if we hashtag that, from now on, we got 2020 vision. This is where we look and this is where we headed, because we want success. Because I want to see everybody that we associate with, all our separate teams of researchers and panelists, and everybody that I've learned to call family through this social media stuff, because I got a different outlook on it. We talking about how we don't have enough Blacks reading and et cetera and et cetera. And I'm looking at y'all and all like, you guys are amazing. Y'all are success stories to me. Because not too many people know what y'all know. Y'all teach better than college professors through my eyes. So you guys are successfully teaching day by day. And we're not giving the credit and setting the standard of we are getting it done. So how do we take this and put it in real time, everyday conversations so we can start getting it implemented in our communities now? Who's going to step up to the plate and say, this is how we're going to do it? Because for me, I don't want to see another generation of broken families. I'm tired of seeing people wind up in the damn penitentiary because they chasing economic success and they go the wrong way to get it. I'm tired of seeing these families break up because they was going and getting achievements by getting the cute guy or the cute girl, but they not looking at how do I create a successful relationship. So we need these conversations. We really, really do. We can look back and we can pull from our ancestors. I don't have no problem with that. But at the same time, we have to realize we have to move forward as well. So we need this conversation. It's just open talk. We family. We talk about everything else. We can beat up on guys, but we can't talk about how to lift us up to the level of guys. Let's get it done. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry that I didn't do any research on this, but I feel like this is the best way to do it. Let's just come to the table raw. Let's put our heads together, because I see every last one of y'all as a genius. And every last one of y'all have a piece of potential to throw in greatness to make this successful. So y'all give me a moment. I'm about to go check on my little boy, see what he's doing. If anybody wants to rock the mic, go ahead. I see Sister Juju and my cheetah sister in the chat. If y'all want to jump on here, we can send y'all the link to see where y'all's minds are at on it. We do want that energy and as many people participating as possible. And that's just what the conversation is. It's very simple. What is Black success? An open discussion. So y'all are more than welcome to jump in, because I'm not the smartest person here. So that's pretty much where we are. Give me just a moment, you guys, because I really do got to check on my son. I'm not leaving, but I just got to go on mute for a second.
Well, it's gonna be hard to come to that consensus. I think success is, like they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, like you said, different people can have different definitions of success. So it's gonna be hard to come to a consensus, because, like, everything he said could be potentially success. People having knowledge of self, people having a successful family, people being successful in their business ventures. Like anything could be labeled as success. So coming to that consensus would be the first step that we would have to do. Um, we are so disunified that I think that also will be one of the first steps. We have to unify. We have to come to some type of common ground before we even can figure out a consensus on what being successful is.
Right. And what you just said is why I want to have the conversation. Let's say we got 16-year-old male, whatever city in America, young black male, 16 years old. And in his mind, as long as he proves he's a real nigga, he goes out and gets himself successfully killed at the age of 16. Is that a success story? To me, no. We have to set a standard. We can no longer say you get to determine in these ambiguous ways. We need a standard. We have to teach that. The rest of the world is teaching it to themselves. China has standards for their culture. And we keep on trying to let this stuff pass every day. We say stupid things that are very, very damaging to our communities and families. We say, I can't hate him because he's getting his money. But that, you know what, is robbing everybody in the community to get it. Got them terrified. Now they can't become successful. You get where I'm going? So we have to have a standard. And it can't just be, oh, I got paid. I'm driving a Benz. I made it. But he stole the Benz and changed the VIN numbers on it. No knock to the people in the streets that got to survive. I get it. I really, really do. But it's gotten so blurry and it's went so long with no one really, really checking it. We are completely lost. So, and maybe it's just something that we can't reach. You get where I'm going? Maybe it is just something that's in the eye of the beholder and no one else can judge what's success for another person. But
Yeah,
I
but you're
still
right though.
think it's
I feel like we do need to set come to some type of common ground because, like you said, somebody on the street could define success a totally different way than the way we going. You know what I mean? So obviously, to us, that's not success. But like I said, it's in the eye of the beholder. So I mean, everybody could feel different. We
because
need
ain't no way my daughters are gonna be able to tell me that they setting out to achieve and become successful strippers. That's not gonna
right,
happen. It's not
right.
gonna happen. No woman is gonna sit back and say she's all right with her son being a successful man whore and disrespecting women, the vice versa. So we have to make that standard. I cannot be a successful story if I steal $5,000 from Sutek to give $1,000 to Kofi and I pocket the rest. That's not success. That's thievery. That's slime ball shit. I don't want to cuss, but that's how I feel about it. You know, we all, at deep down, we got that frustration behind this word. We are so fixated on finding this one thing, this problem. What is success? A lot of us won't even realize we're successful because we so beat up thinking that we not successful. Shots out to Kofi and Sean and certain platforms who feel like they not successful because you don't have the right numbers. I gave that to Kofi last night as a gift for the holidays. I sent him a picture of McDonald's with the over 1 billion served. Just because they got the numbers don't mean they necessarily successful when it comes to who got the best hamburger or the best meal in town. That's just what certain people know. Why? Because they don't have a standard of what fine cuisine is. Do you get where I'm going? So we have to raise the bar. If you want to change it to that, let's do it. You know, if we have to switch topics and go that direction, I'm with it. Somebody just put health as wealth. So are we successful because we go to the gym every day? For all my vegan folks, if I gave up meat for the rest of my life and now I'm successful because I'm astral projecting because I'm about to pass out because my body ain't got enough protein in it, like what's going on? So we have to do it because as y'all see, you know, there's another word that goes along with this conversation. The pseudos is tearing it up from what we see. And we at war with them every day in the chat. Well, then how do we successfully destroy that? You set a standard. No longer will we tolerate this. In order for you to speak, you have to achieve these levels. Once you do that and you succeeded, now you can speak. We have to go back to those standards, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with discipline and structure at all. If we have to start all over from ground one, I'm with it. I'm from the gutter. I done had to start all over a million damn times in my life. I'm used to that. So to do it from a philosophical level, I have no problem with that at all. We're supposed to learn something new every day anyways. But from now on, can we at least consider the conversation of, yeah, let's see where we at? Because I consider everybody here family. I see and I talk to you guys more than my own bloodline every single day. Y'all check on me more than my own bloodline. So I want to see you guys successful in whatever it is you're pursuing. And in that, it's like, yeah, how can I help you get there? What is that success? So I'm with you. I see CK out there. I wanted to ask her this question because she says she plays video games. These video games, you can win trophies. They call them achievements. So that means two things in my mind. You can beat the entire game and be successful in that game, but not make any of the achievements. You can play the game and not successfully beat it, but make all kind of achievements. So there's a difference in between the two, even though you got to use both words to explain the other. So how do we really go about this conversation of saying what is success? And I showed y'all what happened. I told y'all I was dozing off, was about to fall asleep, and I didn't want to. So I forced myself to do some research. And I Googled what is Black success. When I seen acting white is a damn wiki article, but there is no acting Mexican, there is no acting Chinese, there is no acting Indian, there is no any other acting like a different group of people. And the first thing in there is to be successfully educated means you acting white. What is going on? And they got Cosby picture on there. And I remember growing up in the slums, anybody who had their backpack on and there wasn't no work in it, it's actually school books. Everybody called them Cosby kids. So that's the standard now? To be thuggy? Yes, ladies, we want y'all on the panel. I just seen that pop up. We most definitely want y'all up here. I just don't know how to send links out. I'm gonna get quiet because y'all know me. I'll get to ranting and going.
Oh, that's the wiki article right there.
Hey, Sean, since you're in here, how do we share the link? I guess throwing it in the YouTube chat. How will we go about doing that?
I ain't sharing no link. How long we doing this show?
Until somebody says that's enough.
All right, I'll share the link.
But yeah, Vyasa, so what you think about like points? Like as far as like okay, we talking about success. So family would be one point. Finance would be another point. Unification would be another point. Like points to help get to uh, a specific achievement, which is what success is, right?
Yeah. And I think with that, with what you just said, if we take the time to break this down, we're going to find ourselves having to compartmentalize different subjects of what success is, because we're going to have a success standard on means of production, our economic system, and families. We're going to have a standard of what success is. That's the whole reason why I wanted to do a Black family series, because I'm tired of this ideology that we're living with nowadays that's become the standard that's not fair to the babies. It's easy for us to say, that's my ex, that's my baby mama, that's my ex, that's my baby's father. The kids never get to pick who they want to be their ex-parent. That's not fair to them. So right from the gate, they have it hard. They torn in between a world that should not be given to them. And it makes it that much easier for them to grow and not be successful. Let's look at the statistics and what they blame it on. So yeah, we need to have a conversation on what is a successful family. What does it mean to be successful as a man? What does it mean to be successful as a woman? What does it mean to be successful as a young Black man? What does it mean to be successful as a young Black woman? Meaning, your high school, adolescent days. We'll leave the kids to be innocent at the moment, 10 and below, we'll leave them out. But we need to have these conversations. What does it mean to write a successful book? Just because I write a lot of words and publish the book, that don't fly. Because the first thing y'all say is, where's your sources? This is pseudo. Vyasa, put it back. We are not stamping that. That is not part of the Masi or the Kofi Pasa TV tradition. Put that back, go back to the drawing board. Bring me something successful. We have standards. So why are we not putting that into our actual day-to-day actions? That's what this conversation is really rooted in. So I'm right there with you, Satek. I understand that. But when we say Black excellence, what are we saying? The only person that's excellent is Beyonce because she can sing better than my daughter? Really? That's biased as hell. Do you get where I'm going? We need a standard of just the everyday person. Because not everybody is meant to be on stage. Not everybody is meant to be president. I understand that. But a big part of the reason those things exist because people set standards in the past that allowed us to pursue these different ideas of success. The problem is we're living under other people's ideas. Y'all just seen what happened. You type in what is Black success and it says acting fucking white. And forgive me for cussing again, but we got to do something about this. We have to. I'm tired of seeing little babies cry and we act like we don't see that. And the only thing they want is to be successful. We hear these R&B singers sing about it. All I want to do is be successful. So everybody wants it, but don't nobody know what it is. When I ask, don't nobody have an answer for it. You get what I mean? Maybe we got to call Master Wuja and have him break this down. He got the answers for everything. I'm, just playing right there, but I want us to be able to have fun. I don't want to be too serious with it. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a well-deserved conversation. It needs to be had. So I'm gonna chime back out. Sean, they are blowing us up. They want the link. They want the link, bro.
I think Sean kicked off. Let me see if I can figure out how to send it. But yeah, my definition of success for the Black community would be to be in a more powerful state. Because right now, we just not that at all. Like America sees African Americans as the bottom of the barrel. And the only way The only success that I see is black people being in a more powerful state. I mean, all around, as far as education wise, as far as financially, as far as family and what uh, culture we are living by. Because, like you said, we are living in America and we are adhering to the standards of American culture. But we are our own people. So I just feel like we need to get back to that. And the faster we get back to that, the more successful we will be. But yeah, I don't know, man. What do I know? Let me try to see if I can send this link out.
I seen somebody say we need to look to the past, and what everything y'all just heard Sutek say. Let me make sure I got the right year. I want to say it was 1912, 1911. And y'all seen me talk about this before. 1911, Boley, Oklahoma was considered the largest and wealthiest exclusive Negro city in the world. Booker T. Washington visit, and this is what he had to say about how they got to that success. They have recovered something of the knack for trade that their foreparents in Africa were famous for. So when you say we can look back and see and analyze how to get there, it's been done. But when we look back from where we are now to 1900, the standards have changed. The odds haven't. They was up against all odds. We still up against all odds. The thing is, through my eyes, we are lowering our standards more and more each generation. We're assimilating more and more. You just seen it, and I'm gonna keep driving that point in. When you type in what is Black success, they are literally saying acting white. Acting white has become the norm of being successful. How are we allowing that? All this information we keep sharing about how beautiful African American history is, how beautiful the totality of Africa it is within itself. We talk about all the resources. We talk about all the good things they doing over there. But when you say, what is Black success? We can't find an answer other than acting white. Okay, we have to sit down. Somebody has to speak up and teach us what this is. I may not be the person that can provide the answer, but please know my heart is there to say, I want the answer. So I'm gonna chime back out and let somebody else rock the mic because it looks like we might be getting people in. Is anybody still on the panel with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to
I see
allow people in.
PK in the back.
I think I gotta be made what a panelist. I don't know if that's a panelist or the other position to do it. But yeah, I see y'all here. I'm aware of it. I don't know if we lost to let y'all in. So give us just a second. I see everybody. But give me just a second. Let me figure this out. Okay. It looks like there might be Sean back in here. Y'all probably will be coming right in shortly. Y'all forgive the technical difficulties and the awkward silence. We trying to figure this stuff out. But hopefully y'all can kind of see where my mind is. So when y'all come in, you know, we can kind of see eye to eye and all these good things.
Tell. It's a tip and rock.
What up?
There you go. I can't hear you, but your mic open.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. There you go.
I said, what's up?
What's up?
Peace.
Let me get the ladies in. Hold on.
Now, while that's taking place, I got a question for everybody. What makes the military so successful? Does anybody know? Does anybody want to take a shot at that? I got my own answer towards that. But does anybody want to try to answer that before I throw out my viewpoint on it?
Yeah, I have no clue on that one.
It provides every soldier with the necessary tools to become successful. You enlist, you get your weapon, you get the transportation to where you need to be, you get your shelter, your clothing, you get your training. That's how the military is successful. It may not be individuals in the military who become successful, but the overall military is such a success because it's willing to provide the necessary tools for its soldiers to be successful. And that's something we need to start practicing. We really, really do. And that's one of my things that I hope progresses in this conversation. Are we even providing the means to one another for us to be successful?
As
This
far
ain't a
as
one-man
what?
show.
As far as what, Vyasa?
Just in any sense of the word. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all do it when it comes to our kids, wives, and husbands. But as on a mass whole for our people, are we becoming so brainwashed that when we see somebody struggling, when we roll through the hood and we looking good and we Gucci'd up and all this, we gonna keep the windows up and the doors locked and say F them, they better get it the same way I did? But what if that was the brain that had the cure for AIDS and the only thing they needed was just a little help to expose it? Do you get where I'm going? Sometimes we block our own success. You know, I don't want to I don't want to take a shot at nobody, but think about that one platform that would just really skyrocket if certain individuals wasn't in there and the Scholastic Brothers was in there. Think about the world of difference that would make. Then we could take that actually into classrooms, whether it's elementary or college, and say no longer will we tolerate being called ignorant, male or female. But that certain someone wants to do entertainment versus education, and it's slowing down what? Our view of that success rate, because it's not providing an equal opportunity for the ones that deserve it. Do y'all get where I'm going?
Right.
Not to bash no names, but y'all know where I'm going. And we got, you know, I don't know how much I can get away with. There's families that's going through things right now. With that success, do we reach out to families when they're going through burdens and help them through it so their family remains successful? Are we really, really practicing what we preach? We have to have this conversation. We have to have it. I mean, and once again, I don't have the answers. That's why it's open discussion. This is me opening up Vyasa's heart to show y'all this is who he is. I can take it to the streets with y'all if we want to talk, from that level. We can talk mature. However y'all want to do it, I'm willing to participate. One way or another, I want to see a victory though. Because I love y'all too much to go another 10 years without seeing us all in smiles, all happy, all at peace. No more headaches. Maybe we should call it that. The Coffee Pie Side TV remedy to no more damn headaches, no more fear. Somebody just said consistency. That's a major part of success because you have to maintain success. It fits right into the build. That goes to show we're not ignorant. We're not ignorant at all. The solutions keep pouring. Now we just have to stamp it. This is what it is. This is what it's going to be. Let's get it done. All y'all got a piece of the answer. And that's what makes it so beautiful. I'm going to go through issues I may not know how to solve, but I guarantee one of y'all going to just at the tip of a tongue. Besides, it's A, B, and C. Damn, man, I never thought of that. Thank you. Guess what? I just achieved another level of success. Why? Because we did it as a family. We did it as a community.
May I interject to that?
Yes, ma'am. Do your thing.
Yes, so that's kind of what I'm getting on. We have to step back a bit, and let's define the term success. What paradigm or worldview are we defining success in? Is it an individualistic type of success? Is it a group success? Like, we need to make those parameters first. Secondly, there's different levels to success. Everybody's not going to be on the same level all the time. So we have to identify those levels within levels, and also keeping that ideology that the success is not ever, well, in the African paradigm, African worldview, that's how I see it. It's not ever about individual success, but as you said, family or community, group success. You get what I'm saying? So we have to define those terms properly, with room to grow, and being very realistic. It's not all going to be beautiful or hunky-dory. There are going to be worries. There are going to be trials and tribulations. The most important thing is, how do we move through those? How do we move through adversity? How do we face it? How do we deal with it? So those are other applications of success also, So
Correct.
where I am. Let's define our terms first. Let's build some parameters on where we're going with it, so it's not so broad, and to break it down in small bite-sized morsels, because there's levels of success that we want for our children, of course. There's levels of success that we want for our young adults, and that also goes back into implementing certain things like rites of passage, which has a framework for expectations that all young adults or people coming into humanity, so to speak, must meet up to. So I think those are some key components that we need to add back in the community and reaffirm. And something else that's in the chat. Going back in the past, like when we're starting to re-examine our history, rewrite our history and things like that, we're taking control. It's also a way that we're taking agency over how the narrative is played out or read out or repeated out. So our success is no longer what white establishment has always rendered what's successful for Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, our success is now based on what we have defined success to, because see, the Haitian revolt ain't really success to them, but that's bomb success to us. And that's something that should be expressed clearly in a historical context, so our children can understand what we as Black African people deem and think that's great and successful, So it's defined by us, for us.
And I'm about to be real petty and claim my individual success. I told y'all I was going to get Juju to teach y'all a lesson before the end of the year. So, I'm going back to mute.
Oh yeah, look, please forgive me, Kofi and Sean and anybody, if I don't get this presentation by the end of the year, but if I do, it's gonna be very short and sweet, just to say that I did it. I'm just gonna put that out, disclaimer, and that I have witnesses in YouTube land. Thank you very much. My sincerest apologies. But if you think you're like, I'm not technically savvy at all, it'll take me a whole month to learn how to work the whole, what is that? We supposed to be doing it on the platform? This and PowerPoint, yes. So I'm just working on that now, but I'll get y'all a little something, something. But yeah, if I don't make it by the 31st, my apologies. Yeah,
And
but anyway, that's all I really had to say as far as the success manner. My phone's about to die, so I'm gonna be out, but I'll be back again.
okay. And I was just playing on that little part, but I want people to be able to have fun in the conversation as well. You get what I mean?
No,
We
I mean
laughing.
that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very like, I don't like to say I'm gonna do something and not do it. Deliver.
I got.
Like I deliver. You get what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I was, had to make that.
So right there, let's stay right there. Is accountability a part of success? Anybody on the panel? Now, I'll be quiet because I don't want to make this all about me.
I don't even know if y'all can hear me. Oh Lord.
Yeah, we hear you.
I'm so shameful.
We hear you, CK. You was about to say something?
No, I just wanted to make sure y'all can hear me okay.
Oh,
But this is a really interesting conversation because I mean, being successful is very subjective, man. And it's been redefined and changed so many times, at least since we've been alive. Not just us being here in America. You know, it went from because remember, like it's just like how we've kind of learned from a true story with him doing a lot of the videos that he's done. You know, what was considered success for us being here in America was just trying to get freedom. Jesus, just trying to get free. And then it went from that to us trying to get an education. And then from there, having our own business, having a home. And then it kind of regressed after that, you know, we started going into the more materialistic side.
You know, it's funny,
And
CK. I don't want to
I don't know,
cut you.
like, yeah, but today I have no idea. It seems like it's a mixture between the two. It's like a little bit of material and a little bit of other accolades. It's like it's a little bit of both now, so far as what we consider success.
You know what's funny is when I asked a couple of people back in my hometown, when I could talk to Black folks, I got two answers: freedom and survival. What is success? Freedom. But what's freedom? Nobody answered. And then survival. So yeah, okay, I understand those things. So when we look at it from a raw human nature form, what they're saying is, through my eyes, I have to translate for them. People want the ability to be individuals. They want to exist, just like every other living creature. You are going to strive for your existence. And a big part of success is what? Maintaining livelihood. And if you can do that, are you successful? The answer becomes yes. But when you look at it from a cultural perspective and a worldly perspective of what we live in now, you have to expand that because the modes of production have changed. Now paying rent for most people is considered a success. Now we got people who can do that easily, but we got people who struggle every month. It's not that they struggle because they don't have the capability cognitively to do it. It's not that they're struggling because they don't have the effort to do it. They just don't get provided the necessary tools to do it successfully at a standard of what, not to take no personal shots at anybody, but you can't compare 21-year-old just starting his family working at Walmart to Jay-Z's wallet and say he's not successful because he's working at Walmart. You tearing that man down. You turn that woman down who's doing that for her kids. So what is the standard for just everyday Black America to be a success without lowering the bar, without lowering expectations? What are we going to train our children to say, this is what I need you to do to be successful? Maybe if I ask it that way, we can get some
Well,
feedback.
it's like
So,
I kind of said before, it's very subjective.
mhm,
But I think the number one thing, I think what we need to do is just focus on what can we all agree on that we would all consider a success.
right.
So I think the number one thing that I think everybody on the panel in the chat definitely will agree on that they would consider a success is not ending up in fucking jail or prison. Like,
Yeah.
it is so easy to get caught up. Like, I'm a former juvenile detention officer, so I've seen these kids get up in there and like just them doing just some stupid stuff. And I think it's just a lot easier for them to end up in secure detention today than it was when I was a kid. Because I remember throwing rocks and stuff like that. And I ain't never go to no juvenile detention over that. But they're going in juvenile detention over stuff like that. So I think that that is one thing I think we all, one of the many things that I think all of us can agree on that would be considered a success. You not ending up in jail, not ending up in prison, you not on parole, you know.
Yeah. And vice versa. Let's take it to the family unit. Not winding up divorced. That's a success to me. You successfully maintained a family.
Mm,
Mm,
I
you
don't know if I can throw that in
successfully
there.
you successfully maintained a family. Man, woman get together, they have children. If you can
Yeah,
maintain your
you
unit,
can't force
that
somebody to stay with you though.
no, that's different. That's totally different.
So
I'm
I
talking a
don't think you
family
can.
unit. A family
I
unit.
mean,
You
I can
make
see
these
you could
vows, you make
say,
these promises to never hurt one another,
okay,
man to woman, and then to the children.
that seemed like couple
From
goals right there.
from that point on, I'm talking about a family. Don't, because you got, if you saying couple goals, let's make that boyfriend girlfriend stuff. Right now we're talking family. Maintaining your family, maintaining home is a success story. When we bragging that we getting divorced at the high rate we are, that is unsuccessful. And then we turn around and say, where's black wealth? But we sit back and make it so easy to turn our backs on one another. Then the kids grow up, they see it. Guess what they do? They gonna turn their backs on what mom and daddy got to say. Say I'm lying. We all went through those moments that if you went through it, how can you tell me that when you didn't do it, mama? You didn't do this, daddy, but you want to ride me to do this and you didn't do it yourself? You better get the fuck up out of here with that. I ain't got no time for that shit. That's what they saying. I don't want to
Hey,
cuss, but that's what they saying.
hey, pardon the interruption. Vyasa or Sean, I think Kayla trying to join the chat. She need to be a panelist.
I don't know how to add people in. I don't think I have the
Jesus, man, watch a YouTube video.
I don't, well, I don't have the what am I looking for?
Basically, he would have to make one of y'all a co-host, so we don't have to keep going
Right,
to Sean.
right. I don't have the
I think
ability
he
to
did.
do
I
it.
think he did make you a co-host, Vyasa.
Okay, so what do I do?
Vyasa. You
Uh,
probably may have to go to their name and then
I
probably
see that.
click
I
on them.
see them. I see their hands. I mean, I can high five my screen at Queen Cheetah, but I can't add her.
hmm.
I've never used Zoom like that, so
Yeah, this ain't my world, y'all.
man, y'all better watch a couple YouTube
She on
videos.
here, man. She on
Y'all,
here already.
y'all know I'm the quiet
Oh,
one.
you may have to unmute yourself then.
She just need to unmute herself.
Okay, so y'all been doing this for
Now
45
it
years.
works. It was not working before.
Say success. You see how teamwork makes the dream
This
work?
is
We got
crazy.
success. Now the cheetah's here.
He
I'm
said,
going to mute.
peace, y'all. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just trying to figure out how it works. I'll wait
Nah, you
to
good, man.
log in and say what I had to say.
Oh, that's all good, Kayla. Drop the knowledge.
Yeah, do your thing. This ain't about me. This is about us.
Okay, so y'all bear with me for 1 second. Oh, my computer about to die. I gotta plug it in. Hold on.
I went ahead and scooped up some wireless Bluetooth, man. It's the truth.
God damn it, she got this glitter all over my god. Fucker.
Cheetah, you're about to get kicked off the panel with language like that.
Who cussing? Hold up. How you talking about me getting kicked off and Vyasa was just cussing?
It's not that you cussed, you said glitter. You know Sean don't like glitter.
This is the He-Man Woman Haters Club. You better be glad you got a chance to speak.
Don't, because you got a nasty ass attitude today. Don't mean you got to take everybody else.
Don't make me mute you.
Over there to you.
Don't make me mute you.
Everybody know that you ain't having a good day, so we sorry that you're not having a good day. We'll do our best to cheer you.
Who was the baby? Somebody's baby got somebody's back. Who was that?
My daughter.
That's success. Hold the fort down. Stick together. That's success.
Queen
Ride with each other.
Queen Cheetah has been muted.
Sorry, go. Stop.
Stop. Look at her still jumping.
I told you not to play with this glitter.
I didn't soak it.
So as of right now, the one common agreement is a standard
Stop, please.
and understanding that there's going to be different departments of what success is.
We just got one, not going to jail. Let's throw another one up there.
So is that so that goes along
completing high school.
Yeah.
I think that could be a success. You know how many people drop out of high school? It's a decent amount.
Because when and it's not to attack what Juju said or anybody else, but when y'all came in, y'all said that there's going to be different levels of it. Remember, those standards is what frames what success is. And I immediately reverted back to that old joke that people used to say. What do you call the doctor that finished last in his class? A doctor. Why? Because he succeeded in meeting all expectations. He met the criteria. He completed the standards. Therefore, he is a doctor. It doesn't matter if he's the best doctor or the worst doctor. He is a doctor. He fulfilled his obligations. So maybe that should be part of the criterion, is the fulfillment of obligations. So if we put it in that aspect of, okay, whose obligations fall on what?
Ari.
And I'll chime out.
I mean, like I said before, we're pretty much doing that right now.
Right. And don't be afraid to speak, y'all. Right. Don't be afraid to speak, because there's no right or wrong answers. The answer is going to be found in all of our answers. I'm going to keep saying that, because it's going to take all of us. I've never lived as long as Sean has lived, and I've never lived where he lived. So I'm going to depend on him to have to tell me how to succeed in his city. He's going to have to teach me how to maneuver there. This is what you do here, and vice versa. If he came here, hey, big bro, you got to do it like A, B, and C here, because it's going to be standards. And there's nothing wrong with sharing those standards. But when we don't do it, we increase our rate of what? Going to jail, getting hemmed up, not becoming successful. So maybe a big part of it is communication with one another. How do we successfully communicate with each other? Especially in a moment where everybody's so antsy. It's hard to communicate with a lot of people. And you want to successfully get your point across sometimes. You want to be heard. So I get there's different levels of this. But when we ask, if we did a survey, what is Black success? And we asked 1,000 people in each one of our respected states or cities, I don't think we need to hear 1,000 answers, but everybody's saying the same thing the same way. Because everybody's going to tell us the same thing. The majority of us is going to be what? Survive. Just right off the back. So rule number one of what is the Black success? Surviving. What's rule number two? Creating strong families. That should be the first two standards. Make sure you survive, little boy, little girl. Don't do anything that's going to jeopardize your life because your life is precious. Rule number two, mama, daddy, you make sure that child survives by any means necessary to the best of your ability. If that means getting along when he wants to watch football and you want to get your nails done, work that out. That is no reason for you to decrease that child's rate of success. Work that out. Create community standards. And if you my neighbor and I see y'all having a hard time, forget me pulling out my phone trying to get a world star moment. I'm the type to go over there and say, hey, what's going on? Let's work this out. I want to see you two successful. Y'all just loved each other to death last night when y'all was whooping my ass in dominoes. What y'all fighting about today? What is this? We got to get back to that. The ancestors did it. We keep saying, let's honor the ancestors. They did it. Them pyramids was built how? They had a plan. They stuck to the plan and they built it. That's how they did it. Us getting liberation was, hey man, this ain't right. We need a plan to get out of this. They fought for it. It took them time, but they did it. So don't none of us ever allow anybody else to say they failed us. Now that we have the opportunity to sit back and say, we got control, and this is what success is to us, don't nobody want to step to the plate and say, this is what it is? We still gonna go by, you're not successful unless you live in Hollywood? That means we not living up to Black success. We living up to America's idea of success. You're being told what success is, and that's why we feel unsuccessful. And we still feel like we on the plantation because we have not defined what success means to us and for us. We've all said this in our own ways in this conversation. So in this conversation, us being some of the gifted minds, us having some of the biggest hearts, us having some of the most prestigious patients, even Sean is kind of antsy, but he loves y'all enough, he loves me enough to see this conversation take place. Therefore, part of my dream right now is becoming a success for me, but it's about us. I'm just trying to use that as a walking example. Sometimes it's not just about you. And I keep saying that this conversation ain't about me, it's about us. It's about defining what Black success is. It's not about what Vyasa success is. It's not about what Kofi Pasai TV success is. You think we care about the numbers? No, we care if y'all get the information. The real brothers of this team, we care if y'all get the information and you go home and you use it or you expand it. We say that every show. I'm not a teacher, I'm just a student here to share information. Because we want to see y'all successful. We don't want to see y'all hurt no more. We don't want to see us being stuck in ignorance no more. And we got the chance and we got tools to use it, let's use it. That's what this conversation is about. We're going into a new year. Look at how many obstacles we went through each month. We beating up elbows. We beating up crystal seekers. We beating up this, we beating up that. We spending so much time with the nonsense, we ain't putting no focus into the planning in the building. For those that know me, in the circles I associate with, I've been dropping a Dr. Clark comment on y'all for the past 2 weeks over and over and over again. We spend too much time demonstrating, not enough time planning. You cannot have success without a plan. Get that through y'all's heads. You have to make that plan. You have to create a standard for it. You have to provide the tools for it, and you have to put in the work for it. He told us to start very simple. If we just stay at Clark, create a safety pin, create underwear. And why did he say create underwear? Because if you fail at it, no one will see it until you get it right. No one will know that your underwear ain't all the way fitted on you right, because you can cover it up until you master it. So right now, okay, we may not master what success is in this conversation, but look at what we're doing. We're creating standards. Look at where y'all at. Look what Brother Sean just said. We got people talking about foolishness. We got people talking about accomplishments. Look where y'all at. Y'all's hearts and minds is in the right places. That vaccine stuff was successfully beat up already because they want to feel successful. CK, you flirt with psychology. I watch you. We know what he's doing is reverse psychology. We see it. Go ahead, somebody speak. I'm trying to go to mute.
I said you sound real robotic right now.
It's probably
That's me
your connection. You're using wireless?
Is that me that sounds robotic, or
That's on you,
she did.
Kayla.
It's just me? Okay, I'm gonna
Yes.
go out. I'll go out and come back.
It might
that
be
was
what you're using to speak.
an important point to why I brought up us having self-defining agencies. So we know what success looks like based on our perception and not defined by someone else. I think that is duly important. I can't stress it enough. So if we're talking about how do we achieve success or how we defined it, then we also need to go in the realms of what are the difficulties in us as Black Africans in America and in the diaspora. What are some of the dilemmas to us being successful? Those are some of the things we need to look at, because when today we take in account for the time we're in, our children particularly, the ones that, I mean, I know we all have goals and aspirations to still be successful, but when we're talking about moving towards the future and evolving, definitely our younger people or our children come into the framework. And what do they see as far as what you define as success? That's what we need to tackle. What are they seeing that is an example of success, and how is that defined for them? So those are some of the dilemmas that I personally deal with to try and show Black African children in particular, because that is where my focus is, on what success looks like from an African perspective, not defined by anybody else having leadership over us or our ideals or what's right or what's wrong, but what we know. So those things are duly important. What we see on TV, on the video, you know, the mark of Black success is being an entertainer or athlete. Again, we have to control the narrative. We have to control what's being said. And that's why I said again, going back to like while we're doing the MBK, these back chats, we have plans to do different stuff in the future. Lassie Warrior Clan, some of the other publications, things like that. And this is why I'm in full support, because this allows us to define it for ourselves, you know, and clearly, concisely, factually. So that is a beautiful thing, and I can't wait to be a part of that and to help push that process, because that's where we have to start. The images that we set forth for our children and ourselves in particular, on what we define success as. And again, I'll go to the example, you know, the history books may not count the Haitian Revolution as success. The history books may not count other events as success, but we know that that was success in our own right, in our own eyes. We have to reaffirm that. We just have to push that narrative. And, yeah, it's nice that people can be pop stars and athletes, but Black person owning a team, see, that's success. So, and what are the dilemmas to our success? And how do we take control of that? You know?
Yeah. I mean, how many came before us and said we need to create our own economic system? What's a black dollar? But let me introduce another idea that I think we might be struggling with, in particular in this conversation. It's okay to separate success from perfection. Perfection just means complete.
Agreed.
It just means complete. You cannot completely live your life in one day, but you successfully need to make it through the day. Do you see where I'm going? So we have to separate those two ideas. And thank you, Juju, for joining the panel, because you said everything I'm trying to articulate, but I can't get out because I literally feel this. I'm trying to control myself over here because this gets my, this gets my emotions going, and I'm trying not to get antsy over here because I'm highly, highly passionate about everybody on this panel and all of us in the totality of it. So
Vyasa, I peeped that because it's like I have like a bipolar life. So how I came up, or the things that I'd done in high school or in college, so the things that I'm doing now, majority of the people would say, the people who know me know that I'm successful, but the people who deem me to be something that I knew I would never be don't consider me a success. They may consider me a failure because they're like, well, why didn't you continue law school? Why didn't you do this? Why aren't you working in your field? For very good reasons, because to me, defined by my African frame of mind, the paradigm that I live in, those things don't collaborate success to me as far as the things that I would have to have done to be successful. And I chose integrity over money and different things like that. Not that you have to be a poor, righteous person, no, but I also knew that there are other ways to be successful in my own right without affecting my people in any negative type way. So me having a criminology degree and certain things, I didn't want to do anything to affect my people in a negative way, meaning I probably would never become a cop. I made my mind up when I was in college because of the things I saw. A personal story, my mom did time in prison, so there are just certain lines that I would not cross. There are other ways that I would want to fix those issues besides being a cop, I think. And I know that.
Supposed to been a good cop.
yeah.
Yeah.
We need
Supposed to be on the
police.
inside.
Yeah.
We need police.
Alright,
I literally just told
Okay.
Kofi. I just literally told Kofi that what we're doing is policing the community. We're just doing it informational wise.
But when you come from a city like Daytona Beach, there's no such thing as a good cop. Like you'll be a good dead cop. You understand what I'm saying? And things of that nature. So
I get what you mean. We eye to eye with you. We just saying that spirit of it is right. Your spirit is in the right place.
Right. So the thing is, now I would probably entertain that thought of mine in cultivating another younger person who's probably going into that field to I guess hone them or be a mentor to them, making sure that they have a proper mindset for that type of situation, because you have to understand, going into the law, being a law enforcement agency or anything like that is technically nowadays militarized or getting closer to that. So it's the same thing, but a little different. So I would definitely go about it differently, dealing with someone else who wants to go in there to have a proper frame of mind. But again, that's all about politics. And those are some issues I really didn't want to deal with. I wanted to deal with grassroots work and social change, not policing my own community. And most of the worst cops I've ever encountered were Black cops. I'm just telling you from what I know personally. So To me, that was never going to be something. I always wanted to be on the proactive end. You know, I don't want to be arresting you. I want to make sure you never end up in a situation where you have to be arrested. You know, besides me, I would have been fired. I've been letting all the Black people go. You know what I'm saying? Giving all the white people all kind of stuff. That's just me. I feel I'll be, you know, leveling out the playing field. But so these were the things in the back of my head I would never do. I was begged to, could not. So yeah, maybe in a different world, but no, not where I am, not where I stand, no position of power. And I'll share a story with you all. I worked for the state and that was good enough. And my righteous work failed me. Okay, again, I was about integrity and righteousness and protecting children, and I got red listed. So, you know, that's it.
13, 14-year-old Vyasa gets pulled by his ear by a white teacher in an all-white classroom. It's the first time I ever heard this word.
My aunt used to pull students by their ears 30 years ago, and nobody had a problem with it. I'm just saying. And they love her. She was a math teacher, so again.
I get pulled by my ear out my seat. I'm just sitting there. First time I ever heard this word. Class, this is a statistic. He will be dead before he's 18. If not, he's going to spend the rest of his life in the penitentiary. I never heard statistic. I embodied that whole statement and it terrified me.
Wait, that was you?
Yeah, that was me.
What?
Today, I'm 35. I made it to college. I haven't completed college. I'm a single father of 3. I don't have any money in the bank. I'm negative right now in the bank. But to anybody who really knows my story, I'm a complete success story.
You know why you a success, Vyasa? I'm gonna tell you why, because I said in the chat it's relative to your upbringing. So when that teacher said that to you, the bar was set, the standard was set for you already. It was either go to jail or be dead. So once you pass that mark that she set for you, you automatically become a success.
Now do you see why the title is What is Black Success?
And that's why I said it's relative to your upbringing, because everybody's upbringing wasn't the same. You know, it's all Black people ain't poor.
Right.
So black success can be a rich Black person as well. You know,
and all of us don't go through racism.
Hold on, no. They experience racism as well. They experience at a higher level, but their standard is different. Your standard was you're gonna go to jail or be dead. Their standard may be, okay, you need to go to college, you need to have a family. Now, if they don't go to college and they don't have a family, but they're rich though, they're successful. They're successful by birthright to us. But to us, they're successful by birthright. But if they didn't complete the standard that was set upon them as a young child, to the people that they're around every day in that circle, they're not successful. So success to me is measured by your upbringing and the people that you surround yourself around. And I yield the floor with that.
I'm rocking with you, and that kind of opens the door to creating that community standard. What are our obligations? And it goes into the parallel of life. The obligation of life is maintaining life. So if you're a millionaire, your obligation is to maintain that, expand it. If you ground zero, your obligation is to what? Get to level 1, hopefully level 2. So your children can be level 3, 4 until you reach level 10. You get where I'm going? So I understand that. But that's why I'm calling on a gathering of the minds to say, when we speaking out through the airwaves and we say something like, what is Black success? How do we identify, okay, he succeeded. Okay, this person is a billionaire, but they haven't done anything for us. Are they really a Black success story, or is that an American success story? Where's the standard for us?
Correct.
Where is the standard for us? Let's go back to FUBU, for us, by us, success. It's not that we haven't seen people try to show us before. It's not that we haven't seen it before. The problem becomes, how do we maintain it? Why is it a problem for us to maintain it? Because we have to accept we're still at war. It's not spiritual. It's not religious. It's political and it's economical. That's what put us in these positions. And that's why we're still in these positions. And that's why we fight each other when you are poor. Because you at war and you are struggling to survive because you want to be successful. Hence the conversation of what is Black success. But we cannot lower the standards anymore. We see what that is doing. It used to be what we called the OGs who was out in the streets banging and going to war. And year by year, that age demographic got younger and younger and younger. I went to go pick my godchildren up one day. The oldest one at the time was in 4th grade, the youngest one that I'm walking to school with them. Parked my car, I walked them to school because it was in their community. So from 4th grade to kindergarten. One of the 3rd graders' peers comes up to me. What's up, man? You looking for that? Like, looking for what? Opens his backpack. He was trying to serve me a package. And I'm like, what in the world is this? Boy, what is you doing? I ain't gonna say on the airwaves. Y'all know what that means. He was trying to serve me.
Man, how old was you?
At this time,
Like 10.
I'm 24. And however old you are in 3rd grade, my daughter is 9. Yeah, the little boy had to be 9, 10, 11.
He was trying to serve you?
He was trying to serve me early in the morning. Then I turn around, hey man, what is you doing? You're gonna get yourself in trouble, boy. What is you thinking? Oh, don't worry about that. You know I got it with me. Goes and opens up the other part of his backpack and pulls out a 22. Do you hear me? 3rd grader. Guess where? Black Wall Street, Oklahoma, that everybody in the conscious community loves to talk about. Come to my home and see what they call it. Thug Town. Why? Because the standards of success have dropped. It's okay to be thugging now.
Decimated.
It's
Standards of
okay to
success
be
have-
ratchet now. It's okay to be baby mama, baby daddy now. It's okay for girls to get on live in the Black community and do these sexual things now. 20, 30 years ago, that wasn't tolerated. If I would have called Juju, CK, Miss Tremez in the chat, the B word 20, 30 years ago, I got to knuckle up with somebody. If not them, brothers, uncles, somebody coming to see me.
You want to know why that is? Why that's happening now? Because the Black family is decimated. That's why it's decimated. You know, like you said, if you say something foul like that, you're gonna have to see one of her family members. Now that the Black family is decimated, she on the internet doing all types of crazy stuff. Not just the women, the women, the guys is too. The father's not in the home because like you got daughters, Vyasa, you in the house. You think you gonna let your daughter be all on the internet doing none of that? No.
Heck no.
She only 5, but she not about to be doing all that. Like that's just the fathers is not in the household.
Y'all done heard me sneak this in conversations before. I'm a single father. And I feel successful that my daughters have never stuck their hands on their hips. But that's supposed to be an African thing. But you say it now, it is so negatively associated with ignorance. Y'all know what I mean by sticking their hands on their hips? They poking their hips out. They rolling their neck. My girls ain't never did that. Ever. To me, that's a success. I don't know anything about raising little girls. I'm not one. And I'm doing this on my own, but to me, that is success. Hopefully I can get them in college and one day they be further economically than I made it. I'll take my L's for them. I'm willing to make those sacrifices. That's the only reason y'all don't see me showing up at these events and making $100, $200, $300 donations. Because I gave up working to make sure I work on them. To me, that's a success. So I understand there's different standards. I get it. But on the community whole, and we trying to be teachers, and I want to be a teacher, what am I going to tell these babies? That is, oh, you successful if you do your own damn thing like Sprite commercial? No, because doing your own damn thing and having personal freedom ain't always successful. Just because you feel like you want to walk through the community and slap an old lady today, Come slap my grandma, see what happens.
I
But
don't
we
think
so
But
that's
I,
successful now.
but do you get where I'm going? We have to accept that. We have to create standards, laws. We have to remove this generation underneath us that black is synonymous with ghetto and hood and being a real nigga.
okay, good
That's
night.
not what being, yeah, go ahead, jump in.
Love you too, baby. Oh, yeah. Can I say something real quick? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Um, so I was listening more when I was out for a minute trying to get my thing straight, but I think I made a lot of good points. But I think we also have to go back to square one and look at how this all originated first, right? So when we look at history, we know how they, messed us up mentally. So those are generational curses now that you have to break. But when we look at it in almost 2020, a lot of our people are very content in where they are and what is. And you always hear, the popular saying, as long as it's not affecting me and mine. So they have that mentality. So going back to when you mentioned the military, Vasa, they have structure, something that the Black community does not have. Um, that's one of the biggest problems. Another problem is the fact that you got babies having babies, but when we look at how we evolved over time, we have gotten worse instead of better. And what I'm saying is, we can see and look at these kids right now. A lot of them are very disrespectful. A lot of them don't have self-respect, because that's where it all begins. For you to be respectful to anybody, you got to have self-respect first. And then we got to ask ourselves, what is it that the parents are doing? Because now we can't put all of the blame on the parents, because I've seen people with my own two eyes come from a decent two-parent home, everything, all of that, and still make the wrong choices and still turned out to be a douche. But for most of the time, kids are only doing what they see. They're only modeling what they see around them. And so if that's all they see is, whether it be their mom, twerking, or, out partying, or and the dad ain't around and grandma raising them, or whatever the case may be, the situation may be, we have to take that into effect, because then they get to school and they get to acting out and they get to act in a certain way. And instead of us saying what is going on in their life and at home and outside of school that's making them act that way, instead of just saying, oh, them some badass kids. Because 9 times out of 10, most times, when a kid is acting out, it's a cry for help. It's just like the saying, you peel back an onion, the more you peel back, the deeper you get to the root of the problem, and the tenderer it gets. So then that's when you start peeling them back and you start asking them questions and prying into their life, you'll find out, what's going on at home. Maybe their mom being abused, or maybe they ain't got no food, or it's a lot of different situations. So then you got that plays into effect, because poverty, that plays into a lot of things that's wrong with the Black community. So if economically they're not even literate, and they're not having the desire to even become literate, because that's another thing. A lot of them don't have the desire. And I've realized that we get so frustrated, because it's like, oh, damn, what it's going to take for y'all to get it together? What it's going to take for y'all to get it? What it's going to take for y'all to come and realize that we need to unify, etc., etc. But we have to also take a step back, right? Because we was all there at one point in time. We just never all was, however you want to label it, woke, conscious, whatever. So what did it take for you to get to where you are? And how long did it take for you to get to where you are? So we have to be a little bit more patient. Coming from me, trust me, that goes a long way, because it's hard for me to be patient, because again, for me, I just look at it as we look at the past. and we look at where we are now, we should be able to make a logical decision on how we move as far as a community. But unfortunately, the problem is so little of us and so many of them. And when you come into interaction with them, you oftentimes find yourself defending and teaching at the same time. And then that's a problem in itself. So we really, really need to, because Black people don't want to go to counseling. Black people are very one of the ones sweep everything up under the rug, don't want to address it, don't know how to communicate. And communication is the key to any success, in any successful relationship, in any type of success that in your life, period. Communication is key. So when we look at it, we are, excuse my language, but really fucked up mentally. It's gonna take a lot for us to undo all of that. And we don't got time really to be doing that, but unfortunately that's where we are right now. And as adults, we have to take accountability for our actions, because everything that we do, our kids watch and see, and they go out and emulate that and take that out on the street. So we have to be very mindful of that and what we are teaching our daughters and our sons. And you know, it bothers me because I volunteer in my daughter's school in the mornings, and I see maybe like the same couple of parents, like, you know, when it's time for, because they do a lot of activities with the kids, like every weekend, all the time, and you only see like maybe one or two, three of the same parents, maybe a grandma or two here, and then that's it. And I get, you know, people got to work, you know, most times, 9 times out of 10, both the mom and the dad is working, or, you know, if it's a single mom, then she's working. I get all of that. But when it comes to our children, these are sacrifices that we have to make. And a lot of us as adults are not making those sacrifices. A lot of people are being selfish, because at the end of the day, it's about our youth and what foundation we are laying for them and our grandchildren to come, and so on and so forth. And if we are not providing and laying down a foundation for them, then what good are we to them? What can we say that we have done? You know, the saying, one of the sayings by Dr. Runoko Rashidi, he says, what you do for yourself depends on what you think of yourself. What you think of yourself depends on what you know of yourself. And what you know of yourself depends on what you've been told. So until we start telling our truth and educating our children and showing them that we don't just got to be rappers or ball players to make it about the hood. It's a lot of different ways to be successful. No, you don't have to go to college to be successful. So what are we really instilling in our children?
Right.
We're not teaching our children about how to invest in their money, how to balance. Well, I don't know if people still use checkbooks, but I remember my mom showed me like at the age of 8, 9, how to balance a checkbook, you know, things like that. We're not teaching our kids nothing. And then another problem is that we be in such a rush to kick them out the house when they turn 18, as whereas instead of us preparing our child for life and allowing them to because ain't nobody saying they got to stay at home for free and, you know, all of that and just be bums. Nobody's saying that. But when we look at our counterparts, them white people, they're not kicking their kids out. You know, if their kid decide to go to college, if, you know, depending if they stay in town, you know, they stay at home and they help them and prepare them and help them get on their feet, and then let them go out in the world knowing that they are prepared and ready and that they're not going to fall on their face. Whereas, I can't wait till you get 18 so you can get the fuck up out my house. And you hear that and stuff like that. And it's like, why are we pushing our kids out when they only 18? They still kids. They not, especially if you haven't prepared them for life.
Thank you so much.
How are you kicking them out? Because then now you're kicking them out and telling, basically allowing society to raise them, or not raise them, but to prepare them for life. And now, so you get pissed if society fucks up, but you can't be mad because it was left up to you, and you decided to be selfish. So now you left it up to society to do your job.
Right. And you know what? I didn't want to cut you while you
Go
was
ahead.
rocking because you said a lot. I don't even know if you was finished or if it just interrupted you. But you said a lot. Now let's stay right there with the kick them out at 18. That leads into the conversation of economic success because why not at 18 you say, okay, son, you can get your little job to make you some money. You can stay here, but you're going to take over the lowest bill instead of
Hmm.
spreading bills out now, mama, daddy, because you know that child going to need help paying for their apartment, getting furniture. You give them the gas bills, $30 a month. That's $30 more a month you can put on your mortgage. So you can hurry up and pay this house off so you can hand this house off to the next generation. We don't even stick together long enough to pay off our mortgages. We know that takes time.
Hmm.
That goes to what you was just saying. But there was another point you brought up, and I want to say this. And I said it earlier. This is a gathering of minds. The teacher's job is to simplify. The student's job is to complicate. When you talked about how hard it is to get to some of these children at times, even for us when we're doing these conversations and we're just trying to teach a message, we have to remember not everybody knows what we know. So if you know something and you know they don't know, take it slow with them, simplify it, and talk in languages they know. Make yourself available and relatable to each other, is what I'm telling to you guys.
Not
I
to
know y'all
interrupt
seen,
you, but
I know
Vasa,
y'all
that's
seen,
a good point that you said.
I know y'all seen me
Hey,
make a transition from just throwing books at you guys to read to quotes to jokes. I made a transition because I wanted to make myself more and more available to show you who I was, to say, hey, I'm with the team. What do I need to do to help you? I'll go back to mute. I just wanted to throw that out.
that's a good point, but we gotta, because I look at all angles. We gotta remember too, our Black people hate one another so bad. Like the hatred runs deep, so deep that most times, whenever you do try to educate or offer advice or help out or whatever, most times you get something, a negative reaction. They don't trust you, or it's, they turn it into something negative. It's, oh, how you gonna tell me how to raise my kid? They get defensive, all of that. So it's a tough battle. And I remember I was sitting with my client. He was telling me how his dad, didn't kick him out when he had turned 18, let him stay there, but told him that he had to pay half the rent. And on the first of the month, every month, he wanted his money. He didn't want to hear no excuses, no nothing. And he was telling me how he had like 1 month, he was messed up and couldn't, make the rent or whatever the case may have been. And his dad was like, I don't want to hear that, because if I was just a regular landlord, you wouldn't have been able to come to me like that anyway. And so that made him want to move out. And so he saved up and, was getting ready to move out. And his dad came to him with all the money that he paid for in rent from the time he started paying up until that day, down to the quarters that he had gave his dad. And his dad told him, it was like, I never wanted your money, and it wasn't about even taking your money, because I can, I'm good, I can afford to pay my bills myself. It's about teaching you responsibility and values. And I'm like, that was a good idea, because most would not maybe had kept the money or whatever. But that goes to show you, um we had values and principles back in the day. We wasn't always as fucked up, I'm sorry, I mean messed up as we are now. And I love to be optimistic about things. So I do try to, stay positive and hope that we will get back to that. But I've also realized too that we messed up, and it's gonna take a lot to get through to our people, because it's not like, because we always say it is about the youth, and it is, it's mostly more importantly about them, but it's also about the adults too, because they are a major impact in the community as well. Because think about it, if it's just little of us trying to teach and to everyone and get to the masses, and then they kind of get it. It's just the same thing with school. You send them back home and they go back to doing the very same thing that you've been trying to break them out of doing. So the little progress that you did make now is out the window, and you got to start all over again, because they just went back to the same environment and went back to doing the same very thing that you are trying to break them out of. It's the same thing with religion. When you trying to get through to the believers and trying to get them to understand, you try to take one thing and not give them nothing to replace that one thing with. And so they're going to keep reverting back. So until because they not going to get it until they see structure. So when you got all of these little, movements and organizations that, are Black empowered and all of that, until they see structure, it's not probably going to happen. I hate to sound so negative about it, but when we look at it, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of like how they say when white men or white people, European people with the British accent come in the room, most times people just stop and listen because they sound so intelligent because they're drawn to that accent. And same thing with Black people, with white people. When white men come in the room with a full of Black people, most times the Black man gonna listen because he sounds so educated, it sounds so appealing. It's the same thing. So it's gonna take a lot for us to get to where we really should be. And unfortunately, we out of time, right? And it's discouraging because we keep seeing our youth going left instead of going right. And it's not enough of us adults putting them on the right path because we so fucked up ourselves. So if we fucked up and ain't getting help for ourselves, how can we be any good to our children? So that's why I said it still is very important that we work on the adults as well, because children, everything's learned. Everything is a learned behavior. So they're only doing what they see and know. So at one point, yes, it does come to where you get older and, you at a certain age, you should know right from wrong and know better. But unfortunately, not everybody thinks like us and has those similar thoughts. So we have to be patient with them people. But we're going to have to figure out how we are going to get to those people as well. Because you said, what is your definition of success? You don't got to be a millionaire to be successful. Success can be whatever you want it to be. Whatever your goals is in life and you reach them, that is you being successful. So we got to tell our children and show our children these things. We can't just expect them to do it. We got to show it to them, because I'm a firm believer. I live off of actions, not words, because anybody can say anything. A person's actions speaks much louder than their words. And so therefore, we as adults have to remember too, we got to get our shit together and really be an example for our children and their children to come. And it's going to take a lot. It's a lot. It's a work in progress. It's not going to happen overnight. But every day that you get up, you got to ask yourself, what are you doing? You die today. What did you do for your children and their children to come in? I mean, our youth as a community as a whole. I'm speaking as an whole entirety. What did you do? We got to ask ourselves that. What are we doing? Am I a good role model or am I a bad role model?
Right. So to summarize everything you just said, Why do we feel that being stepped on is a problem, knowing that a lot of us need ladders to climb on? And I hope y'all understand what I'm saying by that. A lot of us need that help. We're going to have to climb on the Asars. We're going to have to climb on the Shines. What am I saying to y'all? We have to learn to depend on what?
One another.
Examples. We need examples. We
Exactly.
need teachers. The greatest thing about those names I just named, not to leave anybody out, is what? They understand they have to simplify and talk to us in languages we understand. If they wanted to, they could stun on us and go way over our heads. But what did they do? They said, I'm willing to come down to your level and help you come to my level so you can be just as successful as I am. So once again, don't see it that you are being stepped on when you go through these painful things. Realize you are a ladder. You are a ladder. You are the mechanism to take the bottom to the top. This is a part of adulthood. This is a part of becoming the elders that we choose to admire throughout lifetime. Is making that sacrifice to say, I've lived, I've been there, I got hurt, I laughed at this, I learned from that. Let me show you now. Let me take the time to show you. Matter of fact, let me give up my dreams so your dreams come true. Not everybody's going to do that, I get it. But the ones that got the heart to do it, just because everybody else is not doing it, don't mean you no longer fulfill your dream of doing that. One of the outlaws in the Tupac song says something that went over everybody's heads. Because they don't give a fuck means I don't give a fuck. Do you see what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
have
not
to get
everybody
that.
think like that, Vaza, though. That's the problem. Not everybody think like that.
Yeah, but most importantly, you have to continue to be the example through it all. I don't know. I see it differently. I think it's about perspective too, and the span. Okay, so like when you think about dreams, giving up.
Yeah, everything is about perspective, man. I'm a big proponent of perspective.
And we become more aware what our
Right away.
purpose is. Because for me, that is my dream. All of us win, like Black people win. Like I leave those foundational steps for a younger generation to continue to evolve and us move and progress further. You get what I'm saying? That is ultimately my dream. Has always been my
We
So-
need y'all. I just want to switch the way
Those
like
are-
y'all saying it. Just for a moment. You know why we need y'all on the perspective tip? Because we need people who can properly analyze the situation. And when you analyze the situation, come back to the information and say, hey, Vyasa, this conversation will work better if you said what is individual success versus community success.
Correct.
Do you get where I'm going? That's why I keep saying it's not about me. It's not about me. I don't care. I don't care if I ever become a millionaire or anything else. Do you know what my goal in life is to be? To prove to every last person I meet, I'm your brother. I've been raped. I've been raped. I've been shot at. I've been to jail. I've been in $1 million houses. I've laughed. I've cried. But if I can teach you to get where you want to be, and I don't really have to deal with any more headaches,
that's success.
My family, I'm cool. Let me fall back and watch and just get my perspective on. But right now, I see ain't nobody doing it, so let me jump in and at least try. And I ain't saying any, I don't want to say, I don't want to make that an absolute. But I don't see enough doing it. Hence, what is Black success?
Maybe people doing it. Maybe people doing it. You know, not
Right.
everybody on the internet. Not everybody televised.
Right.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Revolution will not be televised. So, you know, like I said, perspective.
Can I ask y'all a question though?
Out there. Huh?
Can I ask y'all a question? Because I don't know how long y'all want to keep going. What's wrong with us getting together and saying, okay, we know from this conversation, we know that there's families out there that may not have time to dedicate to their children for homework. In 2020, can we make the plan that instead of beating up on the Bible, instead of us trying to figure out who was first, Kemet or Samaria, Wednesday night is tutor night for the Black community. And we find a mathematician that got the time. We find someone who does grammar and all that stuff, someone who's good at science. So Black families who don't have the time to sit down or they don't have the know-how can come
Brilliant.
right on YouTube and say, child, type that number 4 question in the chat and Vasa's gonna ask Sean and he's gonna work that problem out on the whiteboard.
That's beautiful.
Then what just happened? The success rate in the educational system goes up because we are finding out, okay, this is not working and we want this for a standard. Let's make it happen. Black success. We understand the economics. Do you know a big part of the problem when everybody's over there on that platform and you talking economics? They so beat up by poverty, they don't have the hope to even catch up, to even get started. It's not that they not listening. It's people ain't listening to them. I'm struggling, I'm struggling, I'm struggling. They telling you, but we ain't listening. And vice versa. We got kids going to the classroom terrified to raise their damn hands because if you raise your hands to today's teachers and you don't know the answer and you say, help me, they so bougie, they so fixated on indoctrination versus education. They only want to highlight the good student in the classroom, that those that really need help in the classroom go unnoticed. So what do? They learn. What do they learn? To just maintain in their little world. Let me get past this.
Can I say something before I
Go
forget?
ahead.
I don't want to be rude, but you just made a point though with the teachers and kids raising their hands. See, one of the problems is so many students to one teacher, and we have to remember that not everybody learns the same, not everybody learns fast as other people, so they can't attend to everyone like how us parents want the teacher to attend to our child. We got to remember they got about 18 other kids in the class, probably 19 other kids in the class. So yes, we send them to school, but it goes back to us being active in it as well. We can't just send our kids to school as a free daycare. That's why I'm not saying you got to be necessarily homeschooled to be successful in school, but for those kids that have those difficulties, because the school will be quick to label them as special needs or got ADHD or something like that and want to just put them on meds instead of figuring out you know what works for the kid, how they learn, what issues and problems they have, and etc. So
Mm-hmm. And you know what you just explained? And you're not even knowing it? Relationship issues.
yeah.
You have to build relationships with these children. That's my favorite thing to use to teachers. And I'll use it this way. When I'm talking to these college professors on my university, well, when I was there, what made Aristotle successful? He spent so much time with his teacher. So you got Plato, Aristotle, Alexander. Those are the 3 people they give us in that order. They spent so much time with each other. They knew each other's strengths and weaknesses. So to feed off what you just said, the teachers don't get enough time to say, okay, this child needs that, but vice versa, the child doesn't get enough time to trust the teacher. And what does that do? That teaches all of us what? People come and go. So why should I even care? You know what that does? It takes away loyalty. You know what that does? It takes away dedication. You know what that does? It takes away determination. You know what that does? Takes away success. So yeah, we have issues that we need to work out for us. Hence, how are we going to define this? And we may never get there. But once again, all of us want to be successful. We want to survive. We got that down. We want to exist as us, the freedom, liberation. We got that. But we also what? We know we're going to need laws and structure with that because you can't just do whatever you want. Son, you can't stick the fork in the socket. that is going to hurt you. I know you want to. I know you want to try that. So we have to be aware of these things, and it takes us who actually care, instead of screaming out nobody gives a F, we have to start screaming out I give a F, so the people who are looking for that person knows where to go. We need a successful map for the community right now. Ain't
But
that
yet
why
we
we
gotta
here?
also give them outlets too in the community,
Right, right,
because
right.
you know, when we look at it too, it might be where they got troubles at home and they don't have nobody at home that they can go to, and then in school they don't have. I don't know how the high schools and stuff is nowadays. I don't know if they still got guidance counselors and stuff, but at one point I remember guidance counselors was dying off and it was barely any counselors in school. So now you got teachers that got to be a teacher and a counselor and all of these different hats. And again, parents are just not doing anything. I'm not saying that that's all parents, but when we look at it, we, now in our community, the kid can't go home to somebody because they don't have the support there. They go to school and don't have the support there. They go to the community and don't have the support there. So where they gonna turn to? The streets, right? We know where that's gonna lead to. So unless, you know, they decide somehow down the line they change, you know, a rock hits them in the head and they, you know, turn around, their life around. But we as adults got to start taking accountability and seriously step up, because our children are only really doing what they see us doing, because
I have
everything is a learned behavior. You can agree with that. Everyone can agree that everything that you do in life you have learned from somewhere or someone. So we
we
as
have
adults have to do better,
we
period.
have we have a question in the chat that goes along with what you was just saying, and it's in reverse. Where does an adult go if they find themselves wanting to teach? They want to turn their life around and
Outside
become
TV.
successful.
That's where they need to go.
I salute that
Talk to
answer.
God. You better call on Jesus.
Get some
Uh,
crystals.
you know, that's a good question. Some some people are not mentally capable to pull themselves from a dark place and you know, really like basically be a therapist to themselves. So then in turn, I mean, do you step out to, I don't know, who do you go to? Because for me,
So
I've always been the one to just be my own. As crazy as it sounds, I have full-fledged conversations with myself. So I'm like my own therapist. So I know what the fuck I'm doing wrong and when I'm doing wrong, and I can admit to when I'm doing wrong and address that. So you know, not everyone is like that. So I don't know. That's a good question. But
can I take a shot at it? We need educational reform. We can no longer go by the days when farming was the standard family mode of production. We live in a
right,
new age. Most parents work from, y'all know what hours, 9 to 5. Some work until 10 o'clock at night. Maybe certain children learn better in between 12 and 10 p.m. So why not open it up to where we got school that runs not 24 hours, but we got one shift during the day, one shift during the night. And in that moment, in that structure, we open up the door through night school, because we got to have a little bit of protection for our babies. Because if you say adults and kids can come to this elementary, people gonna look at you all cross-eyed, and I don't want my kids around no molesters, and go immediately into some perverted stuff. But what if we had organizations to where you had a night school to where, okay, you find yourself at 27, things ain't going too well, and you want to learn a trade so you can get your life together. And while you 27, you already have a 12-year-old who ain't doing too good in school. Both of y'all can go to the same classroom and pick up stuff from your community. So once again, it goes back to what? Community. And we can organize these things. We are not stupid people. We may not have the economics to build a big fancy building and get every single computer, but there's nothing wrong with communicating each other. We can stand outside and do a lot of this stuff just right there on the street, neighbor to neighbor. But how many of us know who our neighbors are nowadays?
Yeah, let me ask, because I want to ask the brother a question, like what type of teacher is he talking about? Because, we talking about teachers that's teaching kids, and you
Right,
teaching kids, you teaching the fundamentals of life. And you're an adult,
right.
you already know the fundamentals of life. You already know the basic arithmetics. You already know don't do right, do right, don't do wrong, so as an adult, if you look, because Kayla kind of brought what Kayla was saying was kind of like a psychologist. She said she talked to
Mm-hmm.
herself, but she able to, discern. She able to, and I do that too, Kayla.
I'm glad I ain't the only one.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. No, you good. I talk to myself too, because I'm able to judge myself as well. I'm in the do all that sometimes. Like, I'm able to talk to myself, judge myself. So it's like, what kind of teacher should an adult be looking for? Because it kind of sounds like he's talking about like what they call a shrink, like a psychologist or something, like a therapist. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for asking it. Understood it there. Yeah, a therapist. So I mean, an adult can
Yeah,
find them. A therapist ain't hard to find. You just got to find the right one. So it's therapists out there.
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
I was gonna say.
And
Was
then you know, what about all our babies got expelled from school or they got locked up and they didn't get out until 27, but they still want to learn stuff? These are community issues. So it's a good question.
yeah, you because you got to look at it too. What you
What
just said
happens
when
when
they
what happens when one goes undiagnosed and at 27 they realizing they're a little bit different, they need help, and through seeking teaching, they find out they autistic or
they
they
that's
find out
where
they dyslexic.
that's where you have the problem where sometimes the parent is in denial and don't want to say, oh, you can't label my kid as being disabled or autistic or whatever. And both my nephew and my cousin is autistic, and I moved in with my sister to help her with my nephew. And I remember from when we found out, from when he was like 2 up until now, he's about to be 15. The changes that he went through, and how hard it was to deal with that. But nonetheless, we didn't treat him any different just because he was autistic. You just have to find ways that works for that child. And that's the problem we don't do, is we just it goes
Bingo.
back to sweeping things under the rug and not wanting to address things. And like, um who was that was just talking before you, Vasa?
That was a tap.
Satep. Like he just said, um self-judgment. We got to be able to really be truthful and honest with ourselves, and we not honest with ourselves, so therefore it carries over into our relationships with our children and every other relationship that we have, because you can't be honest with yourself. You can't even face the truth, because we know the truth is ugly sometimes. We know that, and as bad as you may not want to admit it, what the truth is. And until we can admit the truth and really say, because about 90%, 95% of Black people need therapy. I don't care what you say, y'all need some therapy in some sort of a fashion, because there is some mental, um what's the word I'm looking for, mental issues
Disruption. Yeah, disruptions or yeah, and that's the whole
that
learning
need to be dealt
process.
with, and that's
And
not being dealt
to take what you just said, right? And to change the world view of things. I will stand firm on this. Every child in public school needs an IEP. We all need individual learning programs. One child is going to be beautiful in mathematics, horrible in grammar. We know this. One child is going to be excellent in science, is not going to understand social studies. So those of us that can put things in perspective, analyze the situation, we need to stop making them feel like they fail at all because they're not good at one.
with.
Do you understand me? That's what's going on in these classrooms. And what does that do? That breaks their confidence. When you break their confidence, what do you just do? You lower their potential of success.
Well, let me say this to you, Vyasa. We don't want to beat up on the educational system too
No,
bad.
I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I like the
Yeah.
idea of
I
the
was gonna say because I
IEPs.
mean a lot of them teachers is underpaid, and I mean I'm sure
Right.
everybody see the videos.
Bro,
Like
I'm trying to
I
get
see
in it.
the videos where Kayla was saying these kids is disrespectful nowadays. These kids fighting teachers nowadays. Like when we was in school, everybody damn near around the same age. We weren't fighting no teachers in school, man. We made. I don't even think we was talking shit to them in school. Like so kids nowadays is just like real disrespectful. These teachers ain't even being paid enough to babysit these badass kids in the school system. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
to try to put an extra educational system on them, that's too much. I feel like the IEP need to come from the parent. If you know your kid is struggling in that certain field, take that time. Like like you was talking about taking time out of the day, taking time on a Wednesday to help kids abroad. We need to focus on, like, and I don't want to say this, but like, if it's a kid struggling, we need to focus on the kid in our homes that's struggling. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to focus on that issue first, because if we handling the issue at home, and you send your kid out in the world, they're a reflection of you when you send them out in the world.
Right.
Like how I tell these people at work, I work around all white people, and they like, oh, you so good. I'm like, yeah. My grandma dead, but my grandma raised me, and I'm a reflection of her. So I know how to conduct myself. Now, when I'm around the homies and stuff, I'm gonna act how I act. But when I'm in a certain type of setting, I know how to conduct myself. I'm not gonna act like the person that I look like. Like I'm black, I got dreads, all this and that. They expect me to act a certain way, and then when they see I got some type of etiquette,
they expect you to act like a damn fool.
Exactly.
Because you're black.
Exactly.
And then
Satep, you know
that
what
goes
you
back
just
to that goes back
Satep,
to
you know
the
what you just
saying,
said?
you acting white. Because
just
no, I don't act white because I still
no,
talk.
I'm saying that goes back to how when you hear people saying you acting white, just because you know how to act with some sense when you're around in certain situations
in certain circles. Yeah. I mean, you got to know how to act in certain
obviously
circles.
you need to
do
know
y'all
how to
You
have
got to
some
know how to
sense
conduct
when you at
yourself.
work.
Now,
can I
I don't
chime
know.
in?
Let me
Can
hold
I,
on.
can I,
Let me finish. Let
okay.
me end my point. Let me end my point. And
Go ahead, boss.
Like,
Go ahead.
I don't know how to talk white. Like, I don't like how I'm talking to y'all is how I talk at work. I dumb it down. I don't cuss as much, but like the exact way I'm talking now is how I talk at work. They just expect me to be ignorant. They don't expect me to know much, and then I hit their ass with all the shit I know, and then they like, oh damn, he looks like this, he talk like this, but he don't act like it. It's all about how you act, because you can talk away, but it's all about how you conduct yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody could talk quote unquote ignorant, but if you conduct yourself, I at work I consider myself a gentleman. I call myself a gentleman at work. I'm like, I don't act like a savage. I'm a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? And a savage is somebody that don't know how to conduct themselves in a proper setting. Anybody can go in the world and act crazy, but you got to know how to conduct yourself in a proper setting. Like I said, when I'm in the hood with the homeboys, I know how to conduct myself. I'm not gonna walk in the hood with a goddamn tie on. That ain't how we. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm at work, the shit that pay my bills, I know how to conduct myself. I'm not gonna act like the hooligan on the street, which I used to do. That don't pay the bills. Acting hood don't pay the bills at all. And everybody knows this. Everybody on the panel know how you gotta conduct yourself. And it's some shit that we don't want to do. But I don't want to act like I don't got no sense, because that's not how I was raised. I was raised with sense. Now I grew up in a good household. My grandma raised me, but I also grew up in the streets. So I got two. It's a flip to that coin, and I know how to conduct myself.
And you know what both of y'all was explaining? Standards. I'm flipping that perspective. The standards that was set for you, and the expectations that was set for you allowed you to become successful through meeting those standards and expectations. Now, me, just this me being petty and funny again. I'm rocking my suit and tie in the hood and in the classroom or the white people world, wherever, because that's me. But I'm saying that for a reason. The standard should be what? Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Why do you get dressed up for an interview? Because you're going in there to get the job you want, not the job you already have. So always go by that standard. Because if you fast forward the footage and you go back, what, 60, 70, roughly 80 years, the Black community was in suit and ties. So you can't say that's not something we haven't done and experimented before. But what happened? People wanted to explore freedom and liberation. You start deducing those standards, lowering the bar, lowering expectations, and now we are birthed in a mess that we're not prepared for. And we realizing losing your friends to foolish stuff at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 is painful, and we live with it forever. Watching your friends go to jail over stupid stuff and they lose 10, 20, 15 years of their life is painful. Watching mom and daddy split up over stupid stuff is painful. So we need standards. It goes right back to that. Not to take anything away, because I agree with everybody. We saying the same things over and over again, just different ways. I'll yield the mic or I'll keep going. Y'all know me, I'll get long-winded. But that's what it boils down to. And we need it. And it's okay to say, hey, these are our needs, our demands, and we expect them to be manifested so we can be successful, so we can feel what? What's one thing that goes with success that I forgot to mention that I heard them say? We need a sense of security. We want to feel secure. Whether you male, female, boy, or child, you want to feel secure. That allows you to be able to focus in the classroom when you feel you safe, when your stomach is full, when your mom and daddy is happy, when your brother and sister is happy, when no one is making fun of your shoes or your shirt or your skin color or the way you talk. It's hard to be successful when you're a genius, but you feel like you got to dumb yourself down. How can you show you? Why can't you get your shine on? Because the fools is saying that ain't what you're supposed to be. That's not leading nobody to success. That's saying I have accepted failure. I'm willing to dumb myself down. My big brother tell me all the time, bro, you ain't gonna get no female because you're too smart. You gotta dumb yourself down. They like jokes. They like silly stuff. And it's like, bro, I can't reduce who I am. You have to accept me. You have to accept me. You have to accept me. I'm looking for that woman that's gonna accept me. I'm not looking for one. Yeah, go ahead.
We need to have a show on that.
I'm with you. Successful relationships. We can spin this off.
Y'all made a lot of points. Well, I need to jump in. I'm bad at playing double dutch too, but I wanted to tie in a few things that was said about from all of you all. Kayla talked about some stuff earlier about children, and it's something that I've been learning a lot in psychology and teaching called implicit biases. So I say this like, so decorum, learning how to act, like that's African. So let's put that out there. And again, this is about defining our terms, you know, for ourselves, by ourselves. You get what I'm saying? Not being defined by others. So
yes,
why
ma'am.
is it
Before you go too far, you said complicit biases, so I can write that down.
Implicit biases. And I'll explain some more. So Africans have decorum, like that's part of our, you know, culture, underlying culture from thousands of years ago. So there's another narrative that we need to play back. You know, we used to dress well in the times that we were most oppressed, during Jim Crow and things of that nature, if you look back on some photos. But of course, the narrative is sometimes played different because you have other people playing that narrative. But my granny was born in 1918, so I got to see a lot of old pictures and different things from different places. So you get that different perspective. So once we know who we are and we understand these, and again, we tell the story for ourselves, have self-defining agencies, and we can supply picture of these examples or be the examples ourselves, that's when you start seeing change. So back to implicit biases, we all have them. know what our faults is, as Kayla spoke on also, and things of that nature. It's not so much about being perfection, but it's about having good character and doing things in a good light. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely have to sit on that standard of being a prime example and doing things. My mom used to say, it's not what you do, it's how you do it, and understanding where you're at, place and time, context use, different things like that. Because as Black African people in the diaspora, you have to play like this chameleon role, to really, I guess, mesh. I've always been easy enough to do that, to be a chameleon where I was. Also, some of that is like, you really can't be yourself. You got to assimilate. I won't ever do that, but I do know my place, but I also make it very clear on my position in the most respectful of terms also, because that's part of my, Black African liberation, to be the woman that I want to be presently. So you make that an example for our children in those sort of manners. So implicit biases is understanding the faults about yourself. So whether you're a parent, a teacher, or just a mentor, you're self-recognizing, so you're correcting also. So you understand what your traumas are, what your difficulties are. So if you are gonna do certain type of work, and you can be in work in progress and do work, I think, you understand? I know this to be a fact, but you just have to understand, your place, so you don't project those insecurities or those negativities or any of those bad habits onto the person that you're teaching or you're mentoring or you're parenting. So awareness is always key. It's not always about perfection, but it's also about finishing the task at hand, making progress, elevating, evolving, is moving a step up. That's how I see it. So, this is what I'm learning dealing with young youth. I'm actually having a prime example of a 19-year-old young man that I took under my wings to give him the opportunity to have a fair stake at life. When I tell you his story, which I'll do later, you'll be like amazed. Like the trauma he's experienced and the progress that I see is beautiful. That's why I say it's about perspective. I think we actually are more progressed than some of the negativities we're dealing with. Look how far we've come. There's a lot of work to do, but continue to just be a prime example. Actions speak louder than words, Kayla. Fact. So we just have to move with conciseness and progress, and let our work show. So, you always have to be in action and be an example. So always be the example. We know what to do, so you just set that. People will mimic that. It will rub off. And once we can get more control of our image in the media, just socially, then you'll start seeing those type of social constructs about us change. Point blank.
I just want to say one thing and then I'm done. Good point, sis. We got to also remember too, and especially in our community, that we got to remember to be very supportive of one another. And I don't mean just by supporting one another businesses as far as spending money. I mean emotional support as well, because we don't know what someone may be going through. And oftentimes, people feel alone in a world full of people. And I can speak from firsthand. It sucks to feel that you don't have a support system. And so I always try to make it my business to be supportive of everyone that I come in contact with, no matter how I may be supportive, because you can be supportive in several different ways, because you don't know what someone's going through. And that one little thing, that one little gesture can mean and go so far more than you would ever know. And so a lot of times that's the thing in our community. We don't have that support. And I mean emotional support for one another. And because we always want to just dog one another and be hateful and nasty and spiteful. And when we gonna stop being like that? And I always say we, because this is a collective thing. I'm no
Mhm.
better than the next person. I'm not no better than anyone on the panel, anyone in the chat. No one. I am not. And that be the problem. We tend to point the finger and have our nose so high up in the air that we can't see what's right in front of us. And it really bothers me because it aggravates me because I wonder, what is it really going to take? I mean, we have these discussions and, very few tune in, or very few are listening, or, they may be listening but not taking heed. And we just go back to doing everything that we just said we wasn't going to do or try to correct. And nothing's happening. And we sitting here stagnant. And I, re- I really want to know, what is it gonna take? Like, we've literally done and tried everything and been everything, but yet to have come together and really just be supportive of one another, regardless of what one may believe, regardless of what one may consider or label themselves to be. Put all of that shit aside. You know, when are we really going to be supportive and come together for one another? Because that is all it is going to take for us to be successful. Because until we have a structure, it's the same thing with the whole reparation thing. How are we trying to go to the government and ask them for reparations, and we're not even organized, and we have no structure and unity amongst each other? That makes no sense to me. You cannot, we can't sit here and really think that we're gonna just get better by praying to Jesus, or it just miraculously happen. We got to put in that work, and we seriously don't have time. So I really want to know, what is it really going to take for us to get there? Like, what is it really going to take for us to put all of our differences aside and really come together as a community? They always say it take a village, but there is no village to go to. I don't care where you live at in the world. There is no village where you can go to. You might know a couple of people, but I mean really a village. So when we gonna get it together? When we really, really gonna really unite? And I'm not saying we got to share the same beliefs and all of that, but I'm saying for all of us to just be supportive of one another, and look at it as my success is your success and your success is my success. Period. Instead of all this hatred and fuck them if they, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all get what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
what is it gonna really take? Because to me, for me, because as much as I'm not bragging, but as much as I do in the community, and as much as I talk to people, and with my job, I get to sit down with a lot of people, and I talk to them, and sometimes I sit down with my clients for a couple of hours. But I just don't, because I'm at my wit's end. I feel like y'all are as very positive and optimistic as I try to be. Y'all some soul snatchers. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, excuse me, fuck, what? Am I not speaking English? Am I not dumbing it down good enough for you? Because if we can all agree that, the things that's going on in the Black community and how they're affecting us and what the solution could be, and then turn around and not do any of it, but sit here like we are right now. And I'm not saying us, but y'all get what I'm saying.
Right.
And then we go back and tomorrow and just do the same very shit that we just said tonight that we was gonna fix and change. Like, what
Right.
the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, we not dumb. Well, I hope, I really be wanting to think that, but I'm almost convinced that some of us are, because you can't sit here and tell me that you watch the news, or you go on Facebook, or whatever it is, however you may get your news, and something ain't like clicking in, ain't a light ain't going off, it ain't even flickering, no nothing. Yeah, I mean, you mean to really tell me y'all are okay with what is right now? And I don't know what else it's gonna take. I really, I really don't. Most people that I run into, it's sad to say, and I hate to say this, but a lot of the ones that I've been running into personally are the believers. I'm running into, it's, we in our last days, Jesus is coming. And especially with my clients, I got to be very careful with that, because I have had those religion talks and some of them have not gone so well. But they really feel like we supposed to just put it in God's hands. And that's just that give up mentality, basically. Oh, well, just put it in God's hands. That's just not taking you putting the blame on someone else, whether it be imaginary or not. And it's like, what the fuck? We too old for that. We too grown for that. We wanted to be so grown, and now look at us. We grown, and what are we doing? Being kids. So we gotta. I don't know. I don't know if y'all got any suggestions, because I'm about at my wits' end. I'm out. I don't know what else to do, how to get to people, but outside of, it goes back to whoever said it earlier, consistency, you just got to keep doing it and doing it. But it just be like, damn, what am I really doing it for? You feel like it ain't going anywhere. Niggas
I
ain't
got
getting it. You know
I
what I'm
got one
saying?
for you. I got one for you. Quiet as kept. Don't feel alone. You think we haven't noticed the way you changed in the chats? We see you progressing. We see your heart. We see your soul. The thing is, we have to let go of one mentality that remains supreme for the past maybe 500 years. And it stems out of capitalism. Not blaming capitalism, I'm saying it comes from it. The king of the hill mentality. We have to accept the fact that when you place yourself on top of that hill, you've accepted you are challenging all competitors. You are willing to compete against everyone versus being part of the everyone, helping everyone get to the top.
Facts.
That's the main issue all across the planet right now. Everybody wants to be king of the hill. Put yourself there. Be Mike Tyson, walk down the street and see how many people don't come up to you and say, man, I can take you. And now you have to spend the rest of your life fighting when all you really want to do is make people laugh. Look at how Mike Tyson has changed since he put his gloves down and picked his smile up. Just think about that.
Pick that weed up. That's what it was.
Y'all
I
are
had to find that
shameful.
in.
But y'all get where I'm going? We have to change that. And sister, I'm calling you sister because you're my sister. It took me forever to speak to you because the first time I was made aware of you, I heard, don't nobody speak to her. That's Garfield's wife. And that was Garfield talking.
Oh my God. You see, people just
That's
make
funny.
But my thing
yeah.
is, I'm that respectful. I don't know who's
Who
who in
Garfield
these
wife?
chats. You get where I'm going?
And
But my point is, now that I seen you and oh, she like cheetahs. Every time I see you, hey, cheetah sister, because I know that okay, that's something she's passionate about. Juju, she told me, she was considering doing Salem Witch. I make jokes about Wicca now. To say, I see you, I support you. I'm with you. CK talk about video games. Hey sis, have you ever watched this movie and read it with this book? You like books, you like comic books, you like video games.
You trying to play Destiny?
Here's a tool to use that can help you put them all together. Me and Zane have known each other and we didn't even know we knew each other because he's got one name as Zane and he's got another name I'm not going to give up unless he chooses to. I was talking to him before I met any of y'all. And it took me until this year to figure out, wait a minute, that's bro. Because we do not make ourselves available to the community anymore. Stop being afraid of that. Be the examples of, I'm not afraid to walk down the street and say, how you doing, sister? How you doing, brother? I just want to shake your hand. Do you know how bad it hurts my heart that I can't even say, hello, sister, how you doing today? Without getting the What kind of whack ass game is that? Our standards have become that low. Our trust in each other has become that low. My brothers, we have got to get over what I call lion mentality. If me and Satep seen each other and we never knew each other and we was walking down the street, we got to eyeball each other and see each other as a potential threat. Why? Why? Because of other people's ideas, not our ideas, other
I'm light
people's
skinned, but you a
ideas.
little bit more light skinned than me. That's why.
Don't-
Hey, hold on, this thing
Y'all
a little
funny.
lighter than me, man. We got a problem.
Man, I go through that forever. I'm so glad I'm not up north because, man, I could not handle everybody coming up and getting mad at me because I don't know Spanish because I'm not Puerto Rican. Like, hey, bro, I'm just not that. I'm black, man, whatever. Like, okay, do your thing. But I mean, look at how many solutions came out of this conversation. Look at how much love was sparked in this conversation, the bonding that takes place. Ooh, I got this covered, I got that covered. The solution is what? Unity, understanding, acceptance, patience, tolerance. Don't this sound like people been saying these very same things for what, 5,000 years now?
Yeah, that's why it's annoying that we have to keep being redundant with this information, and the fact that, you know, we got these sometimers. Prime example, Kwanzaa. We're supposed to be celebrating the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, but you only do it on Kwanzaa, and then you forget about it after Kwanzaa is over. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing seriously? Because that be my thing. Like, we looking at Jesus, human trafficking. Like, my sitter friend, like 50 something years old. It was 3 black women that pulled up on her in a white van that tried to snatch her up, and she had to pull her gun out on them. And that's the only reason why they didn't get her. And then another friend of mine, her daughter sent her daughter outside to the car to get something out the car. This black man tries to snatch her up. Luckily, she gets away. And by the time she run in the house and, you know, her dad come out, you know, the man gone. But how, and excuse me, but how in the entire fuck is black people participating in human trafficking is mind-boggling to me, because I don't understand that shit. But there goes to show you how mentally fucked up we are. Like, when we really get down to the core, it goes back to peeling the onion back and getting down to the root of the problem. We so fucked up mentally that it's gonna take a lot for us to do all of that fuck upness and to get reprogrammed. Excuse me, y'all, for me cussing, but
You all right, let it out.
you know, it's gonna take a lot. And again, it goes back to the patience. And for me, I barely have any, and I'm really trying to work on that. But for me, again, it goes back to, because I feel like I get it that we messed up mentally, but then for me too, I'm looking at it like, well, it only kind of really just makes common sense when we look at it. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure the shit out. Like, when we look at it, just with, even if quote unquote we don't know the true history, right, and we just go off of what they tell us, even off of what they tell us and what we looking at today, common sense tells you we fucked up and been fucked up and still fucked up and gonna be fucked up if we don't get it together.
Can I
Like,
give you
you know what I'm
my
saying?
can I give you my analyst on that one?
I want
Something
to
that we
go
need
right
to stop
behind.
immediately. We have got to stop the biggest lie we accepted in the Black community in our generations. Can't speak for everyone, but I've seen this has been one of the biggest lies we have accepted. Don't love and don't trust nobody because it don't exist. When in all actuality, by human nature, every last one of us want to be trusted and we want to be loved. Therefore, love and trust people. Trust
Yeah.
a crackhead to be a crackhead.
Facts.
Trust Satep to be Satep. Trust Kofi to be a good guy. Trust is there. Love is there. You got to give it. Stop saying respect is earned, it's not given. Because you contradicting yourself. You want people to give you respect, but you ain't gonna give it to them? That don't work.
Goes back to you treat people how you expect to be treated.
You have to start out, I start different than other people. I'm gonna give you 100% of my trust. It's on you to maintain it. I understand you might be late one day. You might miss a phone call. So I'm not gonna take you down to 60%. But over time, if I see that I can't trust you to pay the bills on time, and I can't trust you to come home on time, and I can't trust you with the kids, that's getting reduced and reduced and reduced. But you start off at 100%. Somebody just said that's not street law. But the street laws is what? Hey, bro, we about to run up in there. I need to trust you to keep your mouth closed. Pirates love each other. Criminals love each other, and they trust each other. So even this street law is a contradiction. The problem with street law is you don't want to be exposed for the bullshit you doing. That's the problem with street law. That is the problem. Don't snitch on me. What you're really saying is I'm a coward and I ain't ready for what they call it, TYC. I'm not ready to take the charge. I won't get locked up for this. I'm just pretending to be a thug. I'm just pretending to be the baddest on the street. I'm just pretending to be the shooter.
Time come down to pay for it. They all be all about it until it
I
be
don't
time
respect
to
no killer that pick up a pistol. You want to show me you really about it? Kill him with your bare hands. If it's that bad, you gotta take him out. Do it barehanded. Then I'll respect you. And I'm gonna ask questions. What did he do to get that? Otherwise, you just saying what? I'm terrified, so I gotta get you before you get me. So you not no soldier. You a coward. Don't say you sat back and you cheated on him because you had to get him back, but you did it behind his back. Because if it was really the case, you would do it right in his face and say, you know what? I can have another. This is not working. Be adults. Because the more and more you do that, guess what happens? When they see successful, happy people, what's going to happen? When we don't just have one excuse me, y'all, when we don't have just one Jigga and one Beyonce, there's 15 of them. Slowly it's going to become 16,
we
17,
demand our respect,
30, 60, 90, 100. From 100 it's going to quadruple up to 500. Next thing you know, everybody in a rush to get married, have babies, and become successful. But somebody got to set the image. We keep going to that. What? Somebody has to draw the line and say, you know what? These are our community standards. If you so about it, and you know what you want in life, say we will not tolerate this and push them out. Because I guess what's going to happen? They're going to come on their hands and knees begging to come back once they see how hard it is and how good they used to have it. We all been there. If y'all ever been suspended, you know ain't nothing worse than everybody in class having a good ass time. You at home bored than a motherfucker.
Yo.
Bored, feeling stupid. Like, man, that joke wasn't even that damn funny. I should not have been listening to Martin yesterday.
Going to bed, Sean, is that what you about to say?
Man, nah, man. I'm finna go live on y'all, man.
I'm going live on us or going live in here?
He going live.
Okay. So is that, we got to go? You trying to say Unc better than us, Sean? We didn't do a good job, bro. We failed. We wasn't successful.
We talked about some really important things and everybody was
I'm saying Unc is going live and what you talking about is important, but I'm saying y'all suck.
I got you.
Sean.
I got you.
Fuck Sean. Okay.
You gotta put us down like that, Sean.
How about that?
Y'all.
God
Let
damn
me
it.
say
Don't
something
nobody
real
say it.
quick. I'm about to quote Sean. No rush, but I worked 7 straight days.
I have, yo. I'm tired of mug.
5 hours of these 2 days. Brother exhausted.
I'm
But I
tired, yo.
guarantee y'all, Sean's ass is gonna stay up for
I'm on here trying to help Unc set his show up.
I know you is. Real tired, though.
Okay, can I'll end it if you admit this.
I gotta
If
give
you
you a
admit
hard
this.
time,
If
Sean.
you admit this, Sean, that
Hey.
you feel better and your smile is coming back from when we
I ain't
talked about
smiling about nothing, yo.
What happened
Well,
with
you,
Sean though? I missed that.
Oh,
Why Sean
negative
in the
Nancy.
bad
I
mood?
told y'all what happened. Y'all came in here talking about glitter and shit.
What happened?
Somebody
Nah,
mentioned
I
glitter.
just been working too
Negative
long, yo.
Nancy.
Can't be talking about glitter.
All right, y'all. I'm getting off here, man. Sean.
Yeah, it's too many women on the panel, yo. We need one woman at a time, yo.
I love
Lordy
all y'all.
mercy.
Thank y'all for
Too many
letting me put
too
this
many
together.
loudmouth people.
Yeah, I love all y'all. Thanks for letting me put this together. You get what I mean? I love y'all.
I don't like none of the women on the panel, yo. All of them are devils, yo.
Boy, you have a wife. Calm your
What you
ass
talking about?
down.
Y'all, the black woman is the devil.
Shameful.
I wear it proudly.
I'm going to the slave master's wife.
I'm out. I can't.
You getting Persian?
Bye,
I'm
Juju.
getting pig feet and fat fingers.
He want a Becky.
Shot fired.
Plow. Okay, well, you the one that got to close this out, and I appreciate everybody. I like everything that was said, and hopefully things can progress. You get what I mean? Meditate on what you took from it and put it to use. So,
Good build. Thank you.
I know everybody didn't leave without shutting down the show.
No, we all still here. I thought you were
Okay.
still speaking.